Well, today I'm in the Maritime Heritage Centre in Scarborough, and sitting with me is Lindy Rowley, who not only is the founder of the Maritime Heritage Centre, but she's also the Vice Chair. So, hello.
Hello.
And would you first of all like to tell us a bit about how all this got started?
2004, I seem to go to a lot of old fishermen's funerals. My husband is now a retired fisherman.
Oh, right.
He was a trawler skipper. And I went to all these old funerals, and I kept hearing families say, I've got loads of stuff, my dad's had loads of stuff he's collected, I don't know what to do with it. And of course fishing's going in decline, so I got thinking it's a shame there's not going to be anything to pass on to new generations, and the kids aren't going to know anything about fishing. And so that was the basic idea, was set up a centre that would tell the story of fishing, or that was what I initially came up with. And then I went to the Council for Voluntary Services, saw the man at the end, the social enterprise guy there, and asked him, what can I do with this idea? He said, get some like-minded people together and see what you can come up with, where you want to go, what you want to do. So I did. I asked my husband's opinion on to who I could get, who did he think would be interested in helping with this. And so that's how we started initially. We had meetings anywhere we could, usually in Sea Cadet Hall, because I was on the management committee there. So we'd have meetings there once a month, discuss what we wanted to do. Word got around, we started collecting things. My garage became over full, that we couldn't get a car in or anything. I can't get anything in. And the different people started saving things for us. And then the government shopfront scheme came up, and I was asked if I was then the chairman of the Urban Area Forum, and I heard about that and asked if there was anywhere in the lower part of the town that we could use. That shopfront scheme was empty shops, let charities or communities have the window. So the idea was initially the window. So I said, could we display things in a window? So we found this shop and realised there's a little bit of space in here. We could use it if we got some money together to rent it. So we asked the chap if we could rent it. It was a black Gothic junk jewellery shop. So we had to do a lot to it to tidy it up for ourselves. But it's got two rooms. So we decided this front bit is our exhibition area. The back bit is our workstations, where we have our computers and we can do databasing and all sorts of work there. So we were fine. So this would be good. So we moved in here in November the 5th, 2008.
Right.
And we've been here ever since, and we just go from strength to strength. But of course the problem is funding. So every year we're chasing funding, we get small grants and we get donations. We're totally free to come in, but we do have a collecting bucket, and if people want to put a donation in, they can. We have a membership scheme which is £5 a year, and for that you get 4 newsletters a year. And if ever we get a big centre where we had to charge, then members of course would get reduced charge. So that's our way of funding ourselves. We can't seem to get any big bucks. We just seem to go from £1,000 and a £2,000. When we first moved in, we got £4,000 grant with the help of the regeneration section of Scarborough Council, and the then Mayor Bill Chatt. The Mayor then was allowed £1,000 to give to a charity of their choice, and I knew Bill and I chatted to him about this, so he donated his £1,000 to us. So we got £5,000 to literally move in. Then our secretary came up with the idea of we go for a registered charity status, so she worked on that for nearly a year. So we're now a registered charity. We became a registered charity in 2010, 11, sometime like that. So as I said, people, I think every week we get something brought in, even if it is just a photograph. Last week when I was in on Sunday, we got a chap brought in a Royal Naval cap badge and a Merchant Navy blazer badge that he didn't want, brand new, perfect condition with all the gold on it and everything, and he donated them to us. Every 3 months we change our exhibition area. We've had lots and lots of different exhibitions. Scarborough, of course, has got two connections to Titanic. So when it was the Titanic anniversary, we did the Titanic exhibition.
Yeah.
That's Edward Harland, was born in Scarborough, of Harland and Wolff.
Yes.
And the sixth officer on the Titanic who went down with the ship, he was from Scarborough. He was born up Ramshill. So we've got two local connections. So we did a Titanic exhibition, and the biggest exhibition we've done, and the one that people are more interested in than anything, is the bombardment, which is December next year, 2014. So you'll have to come back and look at that.
Yes.
And we have one of our chaps is that researched it in depth, so we've got lots and lots of information about
be
that.
Interesting. Okay.
Tunny fishing, of course, was a big thing in Scarborough from the 1930s to 1953, I think. So we did about an exhibition about tunny fishing, collected lots and lots of photographs, which we have, and we now go around schools and give talks on fishing. If I can get my husband to come with me, I talk about how we set up the Maritime Centre, he then talks about fishing. So his life in fishing, he was a fisherman for 38 years, and he was the skipper of the Coronia for 12 years.
All right.
So ill health has made him retire this year. Totally. So, but he'll come round to schools and give talks, and that's really interesting, talking to the kids.
Yeah.
One of our volunteers made us a fish box, and we've had some clothes made to fit 8-year-olds. So we've got a smock, a gansey, a barn skin, an oilskin, a sou'wester. We've got little model fish. We have model boats in there. We have a small ship's wheel in there. So we can take that round to schools and talk to the kids about that. Sometimes my husband will take a net and show them how to mend a net. He makes miniature crab pots, so we'll take them and he'll explain how crabs and lobsters are caught. So we have lots of things that we can talk to the kids about, and we get some really lovely comeback. Funny questions as well, when it's question time afterwards. The one we thought was really interesting, we were at a school and he was explaining about fishing, and then he said, "What sort of fish? Can anybody tell me names of fish?" Silence. So then he said, "When you go to fish and chip shop with mum and dad, what do they ask for?" Silence. One little girl stuck her hand up, and we said, "So, can you tell us the name of a fish?" So she said, "Battered."
Yeah.
And then a little boy, of course, then fish fingers. So they were the fish that they knew. So then we explained about cod and haddock and etc. So that was, and we had a poster with them on. We won the BBC Who Do You Think You Are website award in 2011.
Oh, well done.
So that's another achievement. We've been here, as I said, since 2008, and we've won the award for Scarborough under the heading of Art and Culture. We've won that 3 years on the trot. This year was the 4th year we didn't get it, but we did get a commendation and a certificate. Right. This year it seemed to go to youth organisations, which again is good anyway. So we're always looking for volunteers. We're totally voluntary run.
Yeah.
We have no funding to be able to pay anybody. Ideally, if we had funding, we could have somebody who would run the place for us, but again, funding is our big thing.
Yeah.
So if you know any way we can get money, or if you're able to help in any way, please come along and help us. I would be really grateful. So that's how we started, and this is what we're doing now. In here at the moment, we've got the Graham Sea Training School exhibition, and that's an nautical training school that was on Paradise. It was a house given to the town by Sir Edward Cayley, I think was his name. He gave the town the house. The education people took it on, and it was purposely made for nautical education of any description, along with the ordinary syllabus of maths and English, etc. And there was only about 80 pupils in the school at any one time. It closed in 1974. Since we've had this exhibition up, we've had lots of old boys come in. One of our researchers, Austin, did a fantastic job at researching and doing interviews with old boys and getting pictures and prints, and a lot of it is lent to us so we can give it back, or they allow us to copy to keep for our archive records. So people lend us things or loan us things or give us things. But we don't want total ownership. They do belong to Scarborough Maritime Heritage Centre,
Yes.
and that's how they will stay. And somebody said to me, what would you do with it all if you got disbanded? And I said, it will not get disbanded in my lifetime.
That's it.
And I'm 65. So it's not going to get disbanded in my lifetime because I'm
Excellent.
determined to keep
Yeah.
it going.
Absolutely.
Whatever, even if it just is in a room somewhere. But it's not going to get disbanded.
Well, it's looking very interesting. It's very interesting. Now, you've got all sorts of artefacts and things around the room. Perhaps you'd like to tell us a little bit about some of them.
So this picture was brought in to us. That's 1740, an old picture of Scarborough. Mum had died, didn't know what to do with it, so they brought it in and asked us if we would like it.
Well, we've got a model here of a boat called the Golden Hind. Now, perhaps you'd like to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a replica model of the Golden Hind.
Right.
Now, that was brought in to us a builder who was emptying a house and he'd found it in the loft.
Oh.
And knew about us, so here we are, do you want it? Oh, thank you very much. Some more things I'd like to show you as well. I don't know if you know the story of the gansies, a fisherman's gansey. Each part has its own pattern, and the idea behind that is if a body was ever washed ashore, it would be taken back to the port of origin of the pattern. So this is a Scarborough pattern gansey, and we have lots of other gansies as well that we can show people. They're knit on 5 needles, they're knit in the round, there's no seam at all to them. They're originally done in oiled wool, and they're never washed because you're washing the oil away. The only place that were ever repaired was the sleeve, that because it got quite tatty sometimes. But they'd wear an oilskin on top of this, or smock, so they wouldn't get dirty. And surprisingly, we've got one there, 65-year-old, that has been worn plenty, and it has no scent to it at all. This nutboard, that's a beauty. That was found in a skip, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, so we got that cleaned up, put a new glass on it, and there we are. We do have one of our volunteers who is fantastic at rope work, so he'll do like bell ropes and things like this, and he does bracelets for when we do Seafest. We do Seafest every year, and he makes the kids bracelets and things with his rope work.
Well, Lindy, thank you very much for telling us about the Maritime Heritage Centre. That's been very interesting. But I understand you've also got something else you'd like to tell us about.
Well, something else I can tell you about is on Friday the 10th of May, I went to Buckingham Palace and received an MBE.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you, for services to the community. Because I'm quite passionate about the community and where I live, as you'll understand when I've been telling you all this. So I've been doing voluntary work for 37 years in and around this community. I started when my son went to Cubs when he was 7. So that was my start into the voluntary sector. And as I've got older, sometimes I find it a bit difficult to say no when people ask me to do things. So would you like to see my award?
Yeah, we'd love to, yeah. That's fantastic. Who presented this to you?
So Prince Charles presented it. I was hoping for the Queen, but it was Prince Charles. And I got that for services to the community. As you understand, I'm quite passionate about where I live and the community I live in. So I started doing voluntary work 37 years ago when my son joined Cubs. So that led me into the voluntary field, and I got very involved with different things, and people asked me to do things, and
you've never stopped since?
And I've never stopped since, and I'm still doing voluntary
Excellent.
work. Yeah.
Well, long may it continue.
It was a super occasion, and I was able to, my husband came with me, my son and my daughter. We all went into the palace, and when the rest of the family came down, so we were able to have a celebration afterwards. So that's the investiture book, and that's my name in it, my full name. And it was really, really special occasion. The palace is beautiful. The ornate ceilings, the artwork. I was able to see on a big screen where my family was sat, so when I came into the ballroom, I was able to see them. They were able to see me quite clearly. So it was really, really nice, and as I say, it was Prince Charles who, you're given a practice, you're told what to do while you're waiting, and it was Prince Charles who gave me it. And when I went forward to get it, he said to me, "Are you actually from Scarborough?" Because they announced you from Scarborough, North Yorkshire. "Are you actually from Scarborough, the town?" And I said, "Yes, I live in the town, sir." And then he said, which I thought was quite odd, "Oh, I remember Scarborough as a beautiful town with men sitting on the beach smoking pipes." That was, to me, was quite an odd memory of Scarborough. But anyway, I just said, "Well, maybe that's Yorkshire for you, sir."
Yeah.
And then he asked me how long had I been doing voluntary work, and I said 37 years. And he said, "Keep up the good work and thank you very much for your hard work." And that's it, you're done. But we were able to see 2 knighthoods given out, a dame was made, and what do they call it, that last one, which was quite fascinating. And only a young chap, a military cross was awarded.
All right.
So that was lovely to see. And it was a really, really special occasion, and made more special by my husband and my family, and them all being there.
Yeah.
And at night time we went out to a really beautiful restaurant for a celebration meal. So I had my 4 grandchildren and my son and my daughter-in-law, my son-in-law. So it was.
So you had a wonderful day.
We had a totally wonderful day from getting up to going to bed.
Yeah.
It was a dream, I think, and perfect.
Well, again, from Scarborough TV News, thank you very much, and congratulations again, and thank you for sparing the time to talk to me.
Thank you.